Linux is an open source operating system that makes it possible for humans to play with computers. It was created in 1991 by University of Helsinki student Linus Torvald. His goal was to create a free version of Minix operating system which itself was based on Unix. Today it's used everywhere like vast majority of web servers, embedded apps like your smart TV, mobile devices running Android, and it's by far the best choice for your personal computers with many different distributions to choose from like Debian, Arch and Fedora just to name a few. Just like Windows or Mac OS, Linux is an operating system that manages a computer's memory and processors, allowing hardware to communicate with software. When you fire up a Linux machine, a bootloader will first put the system into memory. Its core, we have the kernel, which is like a seed from which the rest of the operating system grows. It's divided into multiple smaller subsystems like a process scheduler, device driver, and a memory manager. They are exposed with a system call interface, which itself is wrapped with the C standard library, which provides an API that user application can interact with. Now beyond the kernel, we have applications that makes the OS usable for humans, which are provided primarily via the GNU project, like a shell to interact with the kernel from the command line, windowing system on desktop, developer utilities, and countless other applications. To get started, install your favorite Linux distro, open the terminal, and notice how we are logged in as the root user on a specific Linux machine. Currently, we are in the home directory of the root user, which is shortened to the tilde character. Show its full name with the print working directory command. Now use change directories with a double period to go to the root of the file system. Use the ls command to print all the subdirectories here. There are your critical system files. Let's go back to the home with cd. Now create a new file with touch, then edit it from this terminal with a tool like V, Vim, Nano or Emac. In Vim, type I to go to insert mode, hit escape, :WQ to write it to the file system. Now use the cat command to read the file. If it's really big, use grep to find all the lines in that file that contains a speech term or pattern. If we want to see how big that file is, we can enter the disk usage command. Every file has an owner and a set of permissions assigned to it. We can change the owner with the chown command or its permission with chmod. Now, if your current user doesn't have the proper permissions, you can put sudo in front of any command to run it with elevated privileges. To install new software on this machine, you can use a package manager like Advanced Package Tool, which will retrieve the code from the cloud and place it in the proper location on your system. We just went through a bunch of commands. Let's recap everything with history. Now let's move on towards bash. Bash is a command language interpreter for interacting with the computer from the command line. It's also called a shell because it surrounds the operating system kernel to hide its intricate details while allowing you, the programmer, to do important stuff like access data, write files by typing simple commands. This was a revolutionary concept when it was developed in early 70s, back when programmers were using punch cards. The shell concept evolved over the years, with the Bourne shell being the most popular version. That is until 1989 when the Bourne Again shell or bash came out. When you open up the terminal or Unix machine like Mac OS or most Linux distros, the default shell is usually bash. It provides a prompt where you can type a command which will then be interpreted by a shell and executed on the operating system. To find out if you are running bash, type $with $shell. It's like any other application that lives in the binary directories. But bash is also a programming language that allows us to write scripts, which means anything we type manually into the command line can be automated with code. When you first launch the shell, it actually runs a startup script that's defined in the bash profile or bash rc file on your system. This allows you to customize the behavior and appearance of the shell whenever you start a new session. You can add your own custom bash scripts to any project by creating a file that ends in .sh or no file extension at all. The first line in the file should always be a shebang followed by a path to the application that should run it. Below that, we can start writing commands like echo to print something and they'll be interpreted line by line. To create a variable, type a name in all caps followed by an equal sign, then reference it later in the script using a $sign in front of the name. Now to execute the script, simply type the file name into the shell. That was easy, but what if we want to pass in some arguments when we run the script? Positional arguments will automatically be assigned variable names of $1, $2, $3 and so on. Now in other cases, you may need additional user inputs in the middle of the script. You can create loops in bash like do-while loop that will prompt the user to continue the script on a yes answer or exit on a no answer. From there, we can implement conditional logic with an if statement, which will test if the value on the left side is less than the value on the right side. If true, then run this command, otherwise run the else command. Another cool feature is that if you have multiple long-running processes, you can run them in parallel in the background by adding an ampersand sign after the command. This has been Bash, the Born Again shell in short. Thanks for watching the video.